Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandhar Vikagiri Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai Nityal Pavishtam Vishnupar Ashtarashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Srila Gurudev Ki Jai Nityal Pavishtam Vishnupar Ashtarashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shutara Shmar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shutara Shmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shutara Shmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai Nityal Pavishta Maha Bhagavat Shilagorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nityal Pavishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupanu Varya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shard Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai नामचाय शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय श्री यमुना देवी गंग देवी की जय श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय श्री भक्ति देवी की जय श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जय श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय जय श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर हरिनाम चिंतामणि की जय जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Okay, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams. Let's see if anybody is there. 1 second. Um, okay, Dandavat Pranams Mahi Bharat Prabhu. Hari Hari Bol. And let's see on Zoom. On Hari Bol, Anadi Krishna Prabhu and Nitai Mukeshji. Dandavat Pranams. So yesterday we read this article, Sadhan, by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and I haven't prepared our new program yet, whatever that's going to be. And so I remembered when I remember when we were reading Harināma-cintāmaṇi together. I just remember chapter 12 about on the topic of the Nāmāparādha of inattention, Pramāda. I remember that being very helpful. And so I thought it'd be nice to reread that. I haven't reread it yet myself, so yeah, we're all going through it again. I just very quickly before Hare Krishna Yashoda Didi, right before we started this, I put the chapter into Gemini and I had it make a new translation. I'm not sure what the translation's like. I haven't looked at it yet, but I had it make a new translation and have the old translation just underneath it, and so then we can compare them, and it might just like point out anything that is not fully accurate. All right. So maybe let's just review the Nam the Sadhan chapter again. Just yeah, I always think it's helpful to But I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm not going to read the whole article, but let's just go through parts of it. Okay, let's read this part. Shri Nam Sankirtan is the highest sadhan, and the various other limbs of sadhan are its assistants. When the best of scholars, Vasudev Sarvabhauma, wished to know what is the highest sadhan, Srimad Mahaprabhu replied that Harinam Sankirtan is topmost. This is described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 6:241. Bhakti sadhan shreshta shunite hoilo man, Prabhu upadesha koilo nama sankirtan. Oh, one second. Sriman Mahaprabhu also spoke the following words to Sri Sanatana Goswami. Bhajaner madhya shreshta navavidha bhakti, Krishna prem Krishna dhite dhare mahashakti. Tar madhya sarvashreshta naam sankirtan, Niraparade naam loile pai premadhan. Among the various methods of performing bhajan, the best is to execute the 9 prescribed processes, the 9 prescribed practices of bhakti. These processes carry the outstanding potency to bestow both Krishna Prem and Krishna himself. Among the 9 processes of bhakti, chanting the holy names is foremost. If one chants without committing any offenses, one easily receives the treasure of pure love for Krishna. That's from Antya Lila, chapter 4, verse 70 to 71. In this Kali Yuga, there is no other refuge for the jiva than chanting the names of Hari. Indeed, Harinam is the only sadhan, and the other limbs of sadhan are accepted as its assistants. Okay, so we only have one sadhan in this Kali Yuga. It's just Harinam. All the other limbs of sadhan are assistants of that one limb of sadhan. In Shastra, we find the statement, Eka anga sade keho sade bahu anga. Some practice a single limb, whereas others practice many. Some practice a single limb of bhakti, whereas others practice many. However, no one should think that he can attain perfection by taking shelter of any limb other than Harinam. When a sadhak understands Harinam to be the topmost sadhan and takes one pointed shelter of Nam, he can also perform the other limbs of sadhan. Shastra clearly declares, Harer Nam Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva Gatir Anyata. To attain one's spiritual goal in Kali Yuga, there is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way than to chant the holy name, chant the holy name, chant the holy name. And Shrinam is both the practice and the goal. Whoever is the recipient of Sriman Mahaprabhu's mercy will single-mindedly take shelter of Harinam without any duplicity. As he performs sadhan of Harinam and gradually attains perfection, he will come to realize Nam in the form of his sadhya, or goal. This is because Krishna's name is both the goal and the means to attain it. There is no difference between Krishna's name, Nam, and Krishna himself, the possessor of the name, Nami. Now, instructions to the sadhak on the practice of chanting. It is necessary to deliberate a little on the subject of the practice or sadhan of Shrinam. Sadhan is performed with the senses. Therefore, it is essential that the sadhak firmly and expertly engage his senses in the activity of sadhan. One can perform the practices of sadhan in a charming way if one keeps the body healthy. This can be achieved by regulating one's eating and recreation, yukta ahar and yukta vihar. In other words, if a person tortures his body by being falsely renounced, then all his senses become disabled. Consequently, instead of the sadhak performing sadhan, he forfeits his life. And then he gives us 2 verses from Bhagavad Gita, which I think we're all familiar with. The meaning here is that one who eats too much or hardly eats at all, who sleeps a lot or who does not sleep enough, is never able to use his body and senses to perform the activities of sadhana. If a person does not allow his body to become, if a person does not allow his body to become unhealthy or his senses inactive by regulating all his endeavors, including his eating, recreation, sleeping, and waking, then his sadhana will be executed exquisitely, and it will destroy all his miseries. The implication is that one must engage one's internal sense, the mind, in remembering and meditating upon Śrīnam by protecting it from the 4 anarthas, or impediments to spiritual progress. These impediments are misconceptions about reality, Swarup Brahm, the hankering for temporary objects, Asat Trishna, weakness of the heart in adopting the process of bhakti, Hridaya Daurbalya, and offenses, Aparādha. Moreover, one's external senses should be protected from becoming habituated to activities that are unfavorable to one's bhajan, such as overeating, oversleeping, and over-endeavoring for sense objects. Instead, they should be incessantly engaged in the sadhana of Nam Kirtan. The capacity to do so is indeed the expertise of a sadhak. Okay, so I think that's enough. We'll now move on to reading from Harināma-cintāmaṇi. Oh, and Haribol Ganga Mataji and everybody else. Oh yeah, and I didn't mention all the other devotees who are most likely watching in the future, like Shachi Devi, Jayadev Prabhu, and I know Indira Mataji is probably there right now, and Krishna Rose, Ananda Pradayini, and Vrinda Didi, and everybody else. Haribol. All right, so let's now move to Harināma-cintāmaṇi. I just put it on a Word doc right now. Not this one. Where is it? Here. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so Sri Harināma-cintāmaṇi, chapter 12. The Nāmāparādha of Pramāda, inattention as an offense to holy name, to the holy name. Jai Jai Mahaprabhu. Oh, and the Mangala Charan, I forgot to say Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Pranam Mantra. So I can sing it together. Namo Bhaktivinodaya Saccidānanda Nāmāni Gaura Shakti Surupaya Rupanuga Varayate. That's the anyways. Okay, Jai Jai Mahaprabhu, Jai Bhaktagan, Jader Prasare Kori Nama Sankirtan. All glories to Mahaprabhu, all glories to the devotees. It is by their mercy that I perform Nam Sankirtan. So, Pramād Namak Aparādha, the offense known as Pramād, or inattention. Haridas Vole Prabhu Heta Sanatane Arto Gopala Bhatta Dakshina Brahmane Shikhaile Apramade Shri Krishna Bhajan Pramad ke Aparadhe Korile Ganan. So Srila Haridas Thakur, he's speaking to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, "O Lord, here in Puri, you instructed Sanatan, and later, while touring the south, you instructed Gopal Bhatta to perform Sri Krishna Bhajan with attentiveness. That means apramade, means attentiveness. You have thus counted pramad, inattention, as an offense." So it's the opposite of pramad is apramad. Apramad means attentive, and pramad means inattention. So then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he writes in his commentary, he says, so he told Sri Sanatan, whether one practices a single limb of bhakti or many limbs, when nishta, when this firm faith, this firm resolve is established, the waves of prem awaken. That's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22:134. By abandoning pramad, or inattention, nishta and one sadhan is born. Anya aparadha tyaji sada naam aloy, tabu name prem nahi hoy to udoy. One may renounce all other offenses and constantly take the name, chant the name. Yet, praying for the name still may not awaken in him. So if you give up all different types of aparad, but still prema is not arising, then what is the reason for this? Let's see. Tabe jani pramada namete aparad, prem bhakti sadhanete korite che bada. Then I know that the nam aparad of pramad, inattention, is a present, impeding his sadhan and his attachment to prem bhakti and his attainment of prem bhakti. So if it seems like we're not making any offenses and we're doing everything right, but still there's no prem arising, then what is the reason? Pramad, inattention. That is impeding his sadhan and his attainment of prem bhakti. So then, anavadhanake pramad bole. So inattention itself is called pramad. Pramad anavadhane ei mula artha iha hoite ghatte prabhu sakala anartha. The root meaning, the mul artha of pramad is anavadhan, or inattention. O Lord, from this single fault, all other anarthas, all other impediments arise. Wow. So iha hoite ghate prabhu sakal anartha. From this inattention, all other aparads, sakal anartha ghate, occur. They all happen from this one offense. So tin prakar anavadhan. There are three types of anavadhan, or inattention. Odasinya jadya ar vikshepa etin prakar anavadhana bujhibe praveen. Okay, so these are the three types of inattention. There's odasinya, jadya, and vikshep. So what are those three? The wise, the praveen, they understand that there are three types of inattention, three types of pramad or anavadhan. The first one is indifference, odasinya. Laziness, or what's that word? Torpor? Torpor? It's lethargy, torpidity, sluggishness, inertia, inertness, inactivity, inaction, dormancy, slowness, lifelessness, dullness, heaviness, listlessness, languor, laziness, idleness, indolence, shiftlessness, sloth, slothfulness, apathy, passivity, weariness, tiredness, fatigue, sleepiness, drowsiness. So many different words. Narcosis. Okay, so the first is indifference, second is laziness, jadya, and the third is distraction, vikshep. Indifference, laziness, distraction. Odasina, jadya, and vikshep. Then in the Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura gives his second commentary. He says, in the context of sadhana, odasinya means a lack of nishta, firmness. Jadya means laziness, and vikshep means the mind is diverted to other things. Anurag na hoa parjanta, sorry, anurag nahawa parjanta, nam grahane jatner avashakta, avashakta. That means the necessity of chanting the name with care until anurag awakens. Okay, so kono bhagye kono jiver shraddha jadi hoy tobe tiha harinam grahana koroy. If by some great fortune shraddha arises in a jiva, then he begins to chant that harinam. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, one should keep count on tulsi beads, and gradually a desire will arise. And gradually a desire will arise to increase the number. Jatna kori smare nam sankyar sahita tabe name anurag hoito udita. By carefully remembering the name while keeping a fixed count, anurag, or deep attraction for the name, will eventually arise. Je parjanta anuraga na hoy udoy, se parjanta jatna kori nam sadaloy. As long as anurag has not awakened, one must always endeavor, jatna kori, one must always endeavor to chant the name with care. This word jatna is very important. Jatna means a bunch of things also. You want to see all the meanings of jatna in the dictionary? Let's look up. Jatna. Oops. Jatna means care. So with great care, great pains, endeavor, exertion, effort, labor, application, perseverance, zeal, consideration, attention. So carefully, with great care, diligently. Yes. So with great care, one must always endeavor to chant the name of the Lord. Jatna bhave. So without the jatna, without this great endeavor and care and zeal, sadhaker chitta sthir hoina. Without careful efforts, the sadhak's mind does not become steady. Nisargata lokasa vishaye asakta smriti kale vishay antare anurakta. By nature, all people are attached to sense objects. Therefore, at the time of remembrance of the name, their mind remains attached to other subjects. Our mind wanders here and there because that's what we're attached to. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Vishay Antare means other subjects, things unrelated to Krishna. Ruchi jai anyasthane name udasin, name chitta magna nahe jape pratidin. One's taste, one's ruchi, goes to other things, and one remains indifferent, udasina, to the name. Even while chanting japa every day, the mind does not become absorbed in the holy name. Chitta ekadike ar anyadike nam, tahar mangal kise hoy guna dham. The mind is in one place, and the name is in another. O abode of all good qualities, how can any auspiciousness, any mangal, come from this? Lakhanam hoile purna sankhya gani, hriday na hiloras bindu gunamani. O jewel of all qualities, O gunamani, one may count on his mala and complete the full number of a lakh, 100,000 names, but not even a single drop, not even one bindu of ras arises in the heart. Eto anavadhana dosher prakar vishay hriday prabhu boro dur nibar. This is the nature of the fault of inattention. O Lord, in the heart of a worldly person, it is extremely difficult to overcome. Boro durnivar. Jatna koribar vidhi. The method for chanting carefully. Sadhu sange swalpakal chariya bishoy nirjane loile nam e doshakoy. By setting aside sense objects for a short time in sadhu sangha, by setting aside sense objects for a short time in sadhu sangha, and by taking the name in a secluded place, this fault is destroyed. So you put aside all sense objects, and in sadhu sangha, we take the name in a secluded place. This fault is destroyed. Let's see, the original translation says, in a short time, one can abandon sense objects through sadhu sangha. This fault is destroyed by chanting the name in a secluded place. So the original mixes the two conditions. The first gives two parallel methods, sadhu sange and nirjane. Okay, let's see the Bengali again. Sadhu sange swalpa kal chariya vishay nirjane loile nam e doshakoy. I don't know if it's saying two separate things though. Maybe it's saying sadhu sange or nirjane, but I think real nirjan we hear from our Param Guru means to be in sadhu sangha. Real solitude means being in sadhu sangha. So I think that's what it's saying. It's not saying two separate things like that. Okay, now let's read Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary. He says, initially, one should follow this practice regularly for half an hour, chanting the name in a secluded place in the association of sadhus. By observing the nature of those sadhus, one will eventually emulate them, abandon indifference, and a desire for service will reawaken. Krame krame Krishna name chitta hoy sthir, nirantar nama rase hoy to adhir. Gradually, the mind becomes fixed, steer upon Krishna Nam. Then, by gradually tasting Nam Ras, one becomes restless in ecstasy. That's a very cool verse. Because look, it seems like these are two opposite things, being sthir and adhir. Sthir means being fixed, and adhir means being restless. So gradually, your mind or the heart also becomes steered. It becomes fixed on Krishna's name. And then by constantly, nirantar means without any cessation, then by this nam ras, the ras that comes from the name, one becomes adhir, one becomes restless, but a transcendental restlessness, not restless in ecstasy. Tulasir sannikate Krishna lila sthane sadhu sannidhane boshi satvata vidhane. According to the Sattvat Vidhan, the scriptural method prescribed by the great devotees, one should sit near Tulsi in a place of Krishna's pastimes and in the company of sadhus. So one should sit near Tulsi in a place of Krishna's pastimes and in the company of sadhus. Then Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explains in his commentary, he says, Sattvat Vidhan, the method prescribed by devotees, means the method of the previous sadhus who were absorbed in the bliss of bhajan. And this is very interesting. First, Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about time, and later on, he talks about counting. But first, we should really focus on how much time we spend chanting, rather than just how many numbers of the names we chant. First, one chants for half an hour, then an hour. Then gradually, Then one gradually increases to 2 hours. Then his chanting gradually increases to 1 lakh, and then to 3 lakh. Such an increase develops naturally. It's not an artificial thing, but yeah, I just thought this is so fascinating. First, just try, and this type of chanting, it means really serious chanting. So, even if we begin with, maybe getting our watch out, setting our timer, and like, okay, for this half hour, I'm going to really, I'm going to make sure I'm sitting next to Tulsi. We can chant some pranam mantras to the Dham. If you're not in the Dham physically, you can be there mentally. So maybe, chant some prayers to the Dham, sing one of the, Govardhan Vaspartana Dashakam or Yamuna Ashtakam, and, these different Ashtakams. So then we're in the mindset that I'm in the Dham, glorifying the Dham, next to Tulsi Devi. And if there's sadhus around, or if we don't have sadhus around, maybe the instructions, they're non-different from their instructions. So then maybe read an article by one of our acharyas. And so then we're in sadhu sangha by shastra if we don't have it physically. And then for half an hour, I'm going to give all, even though my mind will be going here and there, I'm going to keep on trying to, in that favorable atmosphere, I'm going to try to bring it back to the name. And then after practicing that for a while, okay, now I could chant for half an hour, seriously. Okay, now I'm going to up the number to 1 hour, and then try for 1 hour just to fully concentrate the mind and like that, and gradually keep on increasing the time that we spend deeply absorbed, and then we'll gradually slowly make it up to chanting 1 lakh of Harinam. But I thought that was so interesting. Before we're trying to get the numbers down, focus really, of course, we have to chant the amounts that we've set for ourselves, but I think more attention in the beginning should be given to the amount of time we spend chanting. See, I just gave an automatic thumbs up to that. All right. Um, yes, first one chants for half an hour, then an hour, then one gradually increases to 2 hours. Then his chanting gradually increases to 1 lakh, then to 3 lakh. Such an increase develops naturally. And so, and I like that point of how it happens naturally. So it's not that we just say, okay, we will get a desire to want to chant more after, spending enough time. And then after chanting seriously for half an hour for a while, then we'll just want to chant more. And then naturally we'll want to chant 1 hour. And then naturally we'll be able to go on longer. And it's a natural increase, not some artificial thing that you do, like I'm going to force myself to chant this many more rounds. But no, it happens gradually, naturally. Krame kala vriddhi kori she nama smare atishigra vishayer chanda hoite tare. Gradually increasing the time spent remembering the name in this way, one very quickly transcends the pull of sense objects. In the previous translation, it says uh, desire. Chanda means desire. But then Gemini said it means the pull of sense objects. Let's look up that word, chanda. Oops. Chanda. So chanda means intention, wish, desire, subjection, method, style, manner. Chanda anugaman means arbitrary behavior, willfulness, having one's own ways, self-will. Okay. But it says Vishayara Chand. So one Ati Shigra very quickly, one rises beyond or Tare, they transcend this this desire or this pull or this for sense objects. or their intention, subjection to sense objects. Okay. So, Anya Prakriya. So then here's another method. So the first method that was given was being in sadhu sangha with Tulsi nearby and in the place of Krishna's pastimes, being in the Dham. But now here's another method. Erup korile odasina rup anavadhan hoina. So here's another method by which indifference does not arise, or this inattentiveness doesn't happen. Atava nirjane boshi shmore, sorry, I'm saying, Atava nirjane boshi smari sadhuriti, indriya pidhan kori name kore mati. Alternatively, one may sit in a secluded place and remember the ways of the sadhus, sadhuriti, and covering the senses, fix the minds on the name. I think this is interesting. So if we don't have sadhu sangha, then we're in a secluded place where there is no distraction, no people to distract us, no things to distract us. We remember the ways of the sadhus, sadhuriti. And we have so many glorifications of sadhus, Srila Bhakti Ballabha Tirtha Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, so many stories of Prabhupada disciples telling about Srila Prabhupada, so many stories. Just remember the example that the sadhu set, and then remembering their riti, their ways of their practice, then we cover the senses and fix the minds on the name. Now, Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, he gives a commentary here. He explains, Indriya Pidhan Kori. What does it mean to cover the senses? This means sitting alone in a room with the door closed, or covering one's eyes, etc., with a cloth during sadhana. I remember after we read this, I purchased a nice quality eye mask. I didn't actually use it so much though. I probably should start using that more. Just make it so you can't see. We know Chiranjeev Prabhu in Hawaii, he has his Nam bucket. He has a bucket and he has two holes cut out in it. So if anybody talks to him, he can see. And inside and it also lets in light, I guess. And then inside the bucket, he put pictures of the Dham, of I don't know, different things to meditate on. So he just has this big bucket over his head and he starts chanting the name. So he's following this method here. Okay. Satvare namete nishta ruchi krame hoy odasinya doshetar krame hoy koi. Swiftly, nishta in the name arises, and gradually ruchi, taste, follows. In this way, the fault of indifference, odasinya, is eventually destroyed. And I think even just the act of setting yourself up to chant, making sure that your phone is far away, that anything that could possibly distract you is far away, and you close yourself off from everything. And especially if you have, and you sit next to Tulsi and you're setting yourself up to chant intentionally, not just grabbing your mala in whatever condition and starting to chant, but no, you're making some endeavor to make sure that you're going to chant in a fixed way. Even just the preparation of that, I think, puts you in the mindset that, okay, this is a serious thing that I'm doing right now. I'm not going to just take it lightly and yeah. Jarya Janit Anavadhan Lakhan. The symptoms of inattention arising from laziness. Okay, so this is how we deal with the first thing, which was indifference, odasinya. Remember, there are three things. It was odasinya, jarya, and what was the third one? God, it's my mind is so bad. Odasinya, jarya, and God, I have such a bad memory. Anyhow, let's see Jardya. Jardya, so that means laziness. Jardya je anavadhana alaser mane tahe ruchi nahi hoy Śrīnāma-grahane. The inattention that arises from jardya, from laziness, is found in an idle mind. Such a person has no taste, no ruchi for chanting Śrīnam. Smriti kale puna shigra virama prayas, e doshe namaras, na hoy prakash. Again, at the time of remembrance, one endeavors to finish quickly. Shigra virami, I want to finish quickly. Due to this fault, namras does not manifest. Anya karye vritta kala na hoy japan, sadhugan iha chinti smare anukhan. Thinking that I must not waste time. My time must not pass vritta uselessly. So I must not waste my time in other useless activities. Thinking this, the sadhus remember the name at every moment. Anukhan. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura says, the symptom of a sadhu's character is avyartha kalatva, the quality of not wasting time, and one should emulate this. And so it's the opposite. Sometimes we will be chanting. So this is how inattentiveness is divided into three ways. The second one is jadya, laziness. And what is laziness? It's also when we try to finish our rounds quickly so that we can move on to something else. But no, everything we should do should be to free ourselves up so that we don't waste. The purpose of everything is to make time for chanting. That's the only proper use of our time. And so trying to chant so that we can free ourselves up to do useless things, no, we should quickly finish up whatever things that we have to do so that we can chant. That's avyartha kalatva, the quality of not wasting time. Nam smare rase maje anya nahi chai, she rupa sadhu sange e dosha jai. They remember the name, are immersed in the ras, and desire nothing else. By associating with such sadhus, this fault of laziness goes away. Really, for each one of these, the remedy is sadhu sangha. Always it's sadhu sangha. So the sadhus, they remember the name, and they're completely immersed in ras, and they desire nothing else. By associating with such types of sadhus, this fault is destroyed. Anveshiya sherup sadhu sangha kore, tar anukarane chitta jadya parihare. One must search out and find such sadhu sangha. By emulating them, the mind avoids laziness, jadya. So anveshiya, one must search. Also, one must search for these types of sadhus, who are, what were the three qualities it said? First, it said, nam smare, they are absorbed in, they remember the name. They're absorbed in remembering the name. Rase maje, and they are immersed. Maje means to be immersed in the ras. And anya nahi chai, and they don't want anything else. So they remember the name seriously, they're absorbed in ras, and they don't want anything else. This is the type of sadhu sangha that we should search for. And when we find those sadhus that are absorbed in the name, immersed in ras, they don't desire anything else, then tad anukarane. Then we should try to follow them. And then jadya parihari. Then this is jadya, this laziness, will go away. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, a Vishuddha sadhu bhakta, a pure devotee sadhu, is rare. Searching from place to place, one will eventually find sadhu sangha. So we shouldn't just be, we shouldn't just wait for sadhu sangha to, come to us, but we should also search it out. We should make an endeavor to be in sadhu sangha and to search out sadhu sangha. Avyarta kalatva dharma sadhur charita dekhile tahate ruchi hoibe nishchitam. The quality of avyarta kalatva, not wasting a moment, is the very character of a sadhu. By seeing this, ruchi, taste for chanting, is certain to arise. Mone hobe aha kobe ihar saman, smaribo gaibo nam hoy bhagyavan. One will think, alas, when will I be like him? When will I become so fortunate as to remember and sing the name in this way? Sheto utsaha ashi alasher mane jadya dur kore Krishna namer smarane. That very enthusiasm, that utsaha, coming into the lazy person's mind, drives away all laziness, all jadya, in the remembrance of Krishna Nam. So enthusiasm comes when we see the character of sadhus and we try to follow them. That's when enthusiasm comes. And what is the destroyer of laziness? Is enthusiasm. মনে হবে আজ লক্ষ নাম যে করিব ক্রমে ক্রমে তিন লক্ষ নাম যে স্মরিব. He will think, today I will complete 1 lakh of chanting the names. Gradually I will remember 3 lakh of the names. Managraha hobe chitte namer sankhyaয় achire jaibe jardia sadhur kripai. Great determination is maha agraha, great determination and enthusiasm. Agraha is, let's look up the word agraha. Oops. Agraha, this is an important word. Agraha. So agraha means eagerness, zeal, earnestness, craving, longing, attachment, fondness, attention, care, persistence, initiative. So this is agraha. So maha agraha means with great eagerness, great zeal, supreme earnestness, craving, longing, attachment. Maha agraha habe chitte namer sankhyaয়. So great determination for chanting a fixed number of names will appear in his heart. Very soon, achire, very soon, by the sadhu's mercy, all laziness will vanish. Vikshep janita anavadhan lakshan. The symptoms of inattention arising from distraction. Okay, so that was the third one that I forgot. So first one is odasinya, second one is jadya, and now the third is vikshep. These are the 3 types of inattentiveness. So now vikshep janita anavadhan. Vikshep hoite je pramada udoy bahu jatne she aparada hoy khoy. The inattention, the pramāda that arises from vikshep, from distraction, is an offense that is destroyed only with great effort. Bahu jatna. If we're not making great effort, it will never be destroyed. Kanaka kamini arjay parajay pratistasha shatyavritti tahar niloy. Its residence, its niloy, residence is in attachment to gold, kanak, kamini, women, and victory and defeat, joy parajay. And also the desire for prestige, this pratishtasha, and a deceitful mentality, shatyavritti. What is the residence for vikshep, for distraction? Kanak, kamini, joy parajay, pratishtasha, and shatyavritti. So it's saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 things it's telling. 5 residences for this distraction. Now, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary, Tahar Niloy, its residence. These are the residences for vikshep, distraction. Eshab akrishti hriday hoile udoy namete anavadhana swabhavata hoy. When akrishti, attraction for these things arises in the heart, one naturally becomes inattentive to the name. When you're attracted to, attracted to konak, to gold, to kamini, to women, or the opposite sex, the opposite gender. So for men, women, and for women, men. When you're attracted to jai and parajai, victory and defeat, and the desire for pratishta, for recognition, and shatyavritti, and having a deceitful mentality. So then, Esava Krishti Hride Hoile Odoy Namete Anavadhan Swabhava. Then naturally, this inattentiveness takes birth. Akrishti, in the commentary, he says, Akrishti means pulled or drawn towards. Vikshep Tyager Upai. So now what is the method for abandoning this vikshep, this distraction? Krame krame she sab chinta parihare jatibe so bhagyavan Vaishnava Acharya. What time is it? Okay, we only have a couple minutes. A fortunate person endeavors to follow Vaishnav conduct, Vaishnav Achar, and gradually gives up all such thoughts. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jatibe means to endeavor or struggle. So to endeavor or struggle to follow Vaishnav Achara, Vaishnav conduct. Then gradually one gives up all such thoughts. And so Vaishnavs, a true Vaishnav doesn't spend all his time in thinking about money and women and victory and defeat and all these things, the desire for recognition and this shakya, this deceitfulness. Pratamete hari dine bhog chinta tyaji sadhu sange ratra dine harinama bhaji. First, on Hari Din, that means the holy days of Hari, like are in or we also say Hari Vasar, are in that song Shura Bhakta that says Madhav Titi, the Titis of Madhav. So holy days like Akadashi, and also different appearance days and disappearance days of various Vaishnavas and Acharyas and all the different days in our Vaishnav calendar. So first, on these special days of Hari, one should abandon all thoughts of sense enjoyments, all bhog chinta, and worship Harinam day and night in the association of sadhus. Hari Din means Hari Vasar, Akadashi, appearance days of the Lord, etc. Hari Kshetre Hari Das, Hari Shastre Loye, Utsave Mojibe Shukhe, Parama Nirbhaye. In a Hari Kshetra, in a holy place, with Hari's servants, with Hari Das, and taking shelter of Hari Shastra, the scriptures about Hari, one should fearlessly absorb oneself in such supremely blissful festivals. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that Hari Kshetra means Shri Navadip, Shri Vrindavan, Shri Purushottam, like Puridam, etc. And Haridas means those pure Vaishnavas who are Rupanugas. So not just any Haridas, but we want specifically Rupanugas, the followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. And Hari Shastra means the Shruti, all the Vedas, like the Gita, Sri Bhagavat, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and all texts that follow Vaishnav Siddhanta, like Jaiva Dharma, etc. Krame Bhakti Kalamana Koribe Vardhan Hari Katha Mahotsave Majayaman. Gradually, one should increase the time, Kala Vardhan, So one should increase time spent in bhakti, immersing the mind in the great festival, the Mahotsav of Harikatha. Shreshta rasa krame chitte hoibe udoy, jader nikrishta ras charibe nishchoy. Gradually, the highest ras will dawn in the heart. Then one will certainly abandon the inferior ras of mundane things. Wow. So really the way to right now, speaking like right now we're attached to wealth and women and our, for women, men, and wanting recognition and all these bad things. And but if we spend our time in the festival of Harikatha, the Mahotsav, the great festival of Harikatha, and also especially on these festival days, all these titis that come up, these special titis that come up in the year, then then gradually the highest ras will dawn in the heart. Then one will certainly abandon the inferior ras of mundane things. Mahajana mukhe hari sangita shravane mukta have manakarna rasa ashvadane. I love this verse. So, hearing Hari Sangit, the songs about Hari, the spending time with the Gaudiya Giti Gucha or any of the songbooks, and from the mouths of Mahajans, of great devotees, hearing these songs about Hari, then the mind and ears become charmed, relishing that ras, mugdha, one's mana and karna, one's mind and one's ears becomes mugdha, becomes enchanted, spellbound, and one tastes ras ashvadan. Nikrishta Vishai Spriha Hoibe Vigata Namagane Chitta Sthir Habe Avirata. When the craving for inferior sense objects departs, the mind will become perpetually steady in singing the name. Nam Gane, singing the name. Ataiva Bahu Jatne E Pramāda Tyaje Sthir Chitte Nam Rase Chira Dinamaje. Therefore, one must reject this pramad with great effort. Bahu Jatne. One must reject this pramad. And we know the three forms of this pramad. First one is udasinya, jadya, and vikshepa. Then, with a steady mind, one will be immersed in the namras forever. We reject these pramads with great effort. Then, with a steady mind, one will be immersed in namras forever. All right, so it is 8:05. Went 5 minutes overtime. Tomorrow we haven't finished this chapter yet, so maybe tomorrow we can go through this again and go through these three types of inattention. Udasinya, jadya, and vikshepa. And also the methods for destroying these three types of inattentiveness. Yeah, that'd be nice to revise. Maybe we can just like find keywords for each thing and how to destroy it. I think that would be helpful. So see you all tomorrow for that. We'll just end with a short Mahamantra and Jayadvani. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. जय श्री सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय। जय श्री गुरुदेव की जय। जय श्री परम गुरुदेव की जय। जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री रूपानु गौर्य गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। जय श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम अक्षय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। श्री हरिनाम चिंतामणि की जय। जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। जय श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। जय श्री सरस्वती गोसाई की जय। जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। जय श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदाता गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। जय जय श्री श्री हरे कृष्ण नाम महामंत्र की जय। जय श्री अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवाश्चा कृष्ण भक्ति प्रद देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Dandavat pranams, Anadi Krishna Prabhu, Yashoda Didi, Nita Mukesh just left. Let's see on YouTube and Facebook. Mahi Bharat Prabhu, Dandavat pranams, Ganga Mataji. Oh, Jaidev Prabhu is with us live now. Haribo. And Indira Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, and all other devotees who are watching in the future, like Shachi Devi, Jaidev Prabhu, Krishna Rose, Ananda Pradayani, and Vrinda Didi, and everybody else. Haribo. Dandavat pranams. All right, is there anything anybody wants to mention before we end the stream for today? Okay, so see you all tomorrow to revise this chapter 12 of Harināma-cintāmaṇi, the 3 types of inattentiveness and how to destroy them. And yeah, we'll complete the chapter. I think the next section in this chapter is agraha. What is eagerness, enthusiasm? So, all right, Haribo. Jai Shri Radha.